Welcome to Posca Wednesdays in Bella and I's studio, where I show up every week and work in this sketchbook and build a world in it, one page at a time. While you name the critters inside of it, I ink them into existence. Let's begin. Last week, we were working on a crab, and we finished the crab. We have a dolphin, we have a shark. This week, what I think we're going to do is we're just going to work on a little bit of topography. I want to get some of that in over here so that I could see what's going to be over on this side. Just helps me see a little bit. So we won't do any critter today. We'll just do some scenery. All right, guys. Here we go. Bella's going to go on an adventure. She'll probably be back. She'll come in and out. It's a little later in the day, so this is when she's a little more active. Or she might just sit right there and watch me. Anyways. We had this rock formation. I really wanted to come back to this. So yeah, we'll do that. We'll come into this rock formation right here. I want to start with a gray. This helps me get some of the rock clumps, some of the major rock clumps here. You know, like there might be some here underneath his paws. Or claws. I guess he doesn't have paws. He's not a Bella, huh? And this will give us the opportunity to go back over some of this orange we might have came out of the lines a little bit in. Because this orange will cover, or this gray, excuse me, will cover that orange fairly well. That was your guys' week. Hope it was everything that you hoped it would be. Exciting and all that good stuff. Our weather's changing here in Prineville, Oregon a little bit. We had some nicer days this week. And this weekend. So it's always nice. I do have a reference photo that I can kind of go off of and get some inspiration from. If I want to look at that and think, I can do that. And really, this is just getting some rock formations in here. Nothing extravagant. Nothing super complicated. Just getting shapes in there. We're getting the darker values, midtones, not the darkest. Black would be the darkest, but I like to use black sparingly. It's not something I'd really go into with first. I tend to lean more towards things like purples and things like that to help with that. So I try to use black sort of sparingly. We're going to have them climbing up over this part right here. I think that's going to be set in the back a little bit. A little bit there. This is why I sort of wanted to get a little bit of a sketch in there just to get a feel for what this is going to be like. There's a method to the madness here, for sure. It looks a little mad right now, but it'll all come together. You can get into those really fine spots if you use just the tip of the nib. So, but those smaller point nibs, the 0.7s, they work out a lot better. So, if you guys gotten yourself a set of Posca pens and you're drawing along and learning the medium along with me, what are you drawing? What is your pleasure? That's what art is to me, is pleasure. It it is a privilege to be able to draw and to enjoy this medium. Enjoy the different mediums I get to try out. And I do. Just really enjoy it. It is a lot of fun. Whatever medium I'm working in, whether it's color pencil, strictly graphite, airbrush. Airbrush is a lot of fun. I have a couple airbrush guns. I have an Iwata and a Badger Sotar. Both good guns. So I think they are. They brought me a lot of joy. Okay, now that we got some of that in there, I'm going to go ahead and come in with a little bit of black. And we're going to start looking for shapes. This can be super random. It doesn't have to be too specific. I'm just looking for shapes. Because I might spend a little bit of time in here looking for shapes. Just being random with it. Nothing too obvious. Just randomness. Just randomness, friends. Partial shading. Or tracing. Not fully on tracing it, just a little bit here and there. I might come in and redefine some of that shell that I might have hit with the gray. As I'm moving along here. Something like that. With these, you want to be careful the direction you're going, because if you're pulling this way, it could hit the tooth and want to spit little sputters in front of the your path, your trajectory there of the Posca pen onto the art. Well, it's not a huge deal, because you can just, you can go back over it and make it look nice once again. It's an inconvenience. It causes a subtle jolt in your spirit. Makes you think, oh no, that kind of reaction. Something as when I was a kid, I would have freaked out over, especially with how much time, you put into something. You don't want to make those mistakes, You want everything to be cohesive. But through time and through patience and just understanding, you come to the realization that, you can be a little looser. You don't have to be, I guess, lost. I mean, that's what I felt like when I was a young kid drawing. I felt lost at times in which direction, where to go, how to make things look a certain way. When art is interesting, while you can make mistakes, it's a little bit, it's easier just to fix them. I mean, really, you can fix a lot of mistakes as you're going, so. And yeah, as this comes along, we're just putting a little texture in places where I feel like there is texture. Maybe some of these rock faces. Some of these areas where it seems like there might be some texture in the rock. Once I get the basic shapes in, then I can come in and start doing little texture things. And I want to be random with it. I don't want to spend too much time with it. I don't want to overdo areas. I don't want to make anything look too busy. But at the same time, there needs to be some suggestion there. Okay. Yeah. And once we get this in, we can go over it with some of these other colors and get things like coral in there, maybe some starfish, maybe schools of fish, you know, for our crab friend here to chase. I think that's what they eat. I don't know. Maybe they eat like little plankton. I don't think they have really big mouths, you know, to eat large fish. So maybe it's not fish. Maybe they're herbivores. If you know, let us know in the comment section. If not, after the video, I might look it up and see if I can't find the answer to some of these questions that I'm asking you guys, and set them as quiz questions inside the description. Or I'm not sure exactly how that works. I just know it's a new thing that YouTube rolled out, and I was able to access that. So I've been taking advantage of it and adding quizzes. Let us know down in the comment section if you participated in any of those quizzes, and if you have, how many of the questions did you get right? I don't ask really hard questions. They're generally questions that I cover here in the video, so it's not anything overly complicated. It's just a little extra added creative step that I get to do in when I'm uploading my videos. And I enjoy it. I enjoy all that kind of stuff. Now that we got this sort of color going in there, I want to come in with like a purple, like a darker purple. And this is where we get a little deeper shadows in here. So I'm just going to come into, I mean, not the deeper shadows, but yeah, I know. Different areas. Like in the cracks, you know. And go from black to purple as it's getting lighter. The purple is to signify it getting lighter. And once you get the whole composition made up that way, then it starts having some cohesiveness. I like to turn the page so that I can see those things. It helps sometimes with it helps with the perspective. Seeing it from different angles. It's a trick I've learned. I don't know if it's a thing. I really don't. I never went to school. I never learned this from anybody that I know of, that I remember. I just know that it helps with perspective. Seeing the image from different angles helps you see things you otherwise wouldn't have, you know? We're not trying to trace every black line here. We're just trying to hint that, you know, this color is a little broken up in it. Yeah, the crab is Mr. Crab or whatever his name is gonna be is hiding over here on this other pile of rocks from the big bad shark that our dolphin friend here is letting everybody know, all the critters. All the other critters that are in the neighborhood here. They want to be friends with the shark, but the shark just doesn't understand that they're frightened of him. Because in the past, the shark has always proven to be very aggressive. And that makes our ocean-dwelling friends here nervous. Nervous of the shark. Maybe one day they can all be friends. But in this story, they understand that the shark doesn't always have great intentions. So yeah, I've been thinking about this all week and what direction I wanted to go. If I wanted to do another critter this week, or if we just focus on a little bit of the topography, then I figure this would be the direction to go, just so that it starts bringing the picture together. And that could be easier to articulate for me as I'm moving along. If there is some landscape. We did the same thing in the city dump. We drew a similar thing. We drew about 3 or 4 critters, probably 3 critters before we started adding topography. All right, now we're going to go into a lighter color. This will help me to see if we need to be adding more values, more darker values, and what values to go to next. It's going to give the rocks a bit more 3D effect. I'm not going to paint everything this color. Just certain surfaces, different areas of the rock. As it comes into the white, it's going to take on a whole nother color. It's going over the gray, it's just going to soften the gray up. But you will see the change in the color. Down here, it'll start looking a little more like sand. They did give us a brown, so we can hint with the brown in here as well. Which I do. I want to do that real quick just to see. Just to see here. This is going to be a little bit of the color here. And that's going to be more of the ocean floors, where we don't need any of that up into there. Okay, well, that was only a test. I just wanted to see how that was going to take. And I do like it, so. You don't want to get too many colors in here and look too busy. It'll take away from the actual rock formation here. And we might not get this perfect on here because I do want to get up and get some of the water and maybe a little bit of the plant life, but we'll touch back on it as we're moving along in the subsequent weeks of working on this page in particular. And last week I touched on some of the rules that I was introducing as far as naming the critters. And you can absolutely name a critter per page. It's not one for the whole sketchbook. That would be, you know, a lot of it is contingent upon how many people start commenting. So if we have 100 people commenting, I don't want the same person to name every critter for the whole book. I'd rather give the opportunity to a lot of people to be able to get their names in the book. So it's just because I want you guys to be a part of this story too, and that's how I want to do it. Is by giving you guys the opportunity to name the critters. I think that's fun and makes it a bit more personal for me and for you, knowing that you know, you had a part in it. So there's that. So as we're moving along here, you can see it coming together a bit. Starting to look a little more like a rock formation now that we're getting everything full of color. I am the kind of person that needs to color every inch of the paper. I'm not even playing with you. That's just how it is with me. I've been like that. I've always been like that. Not color, but I've always had to fill a page with art. It can't just be, you know, in the middle of the page and then everything left blank. I used to have the habit of starting projects and completing 85% of them and then just, you know, not showing anybody the rest. Like not showing anybody the end result. I did that for years. And I'll talk more about that in my Bella versus Aliens video. But essentially what that is just, I didn't really want to share my art, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Maybe a bit of it is, I wouldn't call it lack of confidence. I don't have a lack of confidence at this point. But it's probably, I don't know what it is, why I did that, why I've always done that. I think it's because I'll tell you what it is. I know what it is. It's more because I'm more into teaching somebody the process and what it looks like before anything happens. Because that's always the stalling point, right? Is you know, seeing what the art looks like before it's finished. That to me is the most beautiful part about art, is seeing the process. And I think that's why I always enjoyed sharing that part of it versus an actual completed painting with anybody. Because, you know, that just, to me, it just, you know, nobody's gonna be wowed. You know, they're gonna be intrigued, but they're not gonna be like, oh wow, you know, that kind of thing from a finished product. It's not gonna be like that. It's gonna be more like, oh, that's the process? I might be able to do that. You know, that kind of feeling. Because I get more out of that feeling than I do just showing somebody a finished piece of art and them being, you know, overwhelmed by it or whatever. You know, not thinking that they could do that. Because I'm telling you, if you spend your time practicing, you will be able to do anything you set your mind to. I'm a firm believer in that. I believe that. So I really like dumbing down or toning down this gray with this color. It really brings the rocks in. So once I go over all that white, it gives me that really, really hard contrast and allows me to see the values in the rock faces a little bit more. So, you know, I don't overdo it there, because that's a real possibility that could happen. I'm going to leave the inside of there. I'm going to leave that. No. Okay. I'm going to try to get most of this rock formation done here before we call it a session. I would like to get up in there a little bit, but we might not be able to make that today. Some of the stuff just takes time. I like time lapses, but that's not what this is about. This is about a drawing along, maybe learn a couple neat little technique tricks that can give you confidence in your art and what you're doing. So you can see the steps that I took to get where I'm at. Well, maybe you can try them out and see if they work for you. So okay. Let's see. Right here. I'm going to go up here like that. It doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be cohesive. Make a little bit of sense here with it. Sometimes just kind of taking a step back a little bit and looking at it can help. So I think we're getting pretty close here. I'm going to draw some coral stuff here real quick, just to get, we're not completely done here, but we definitely got something working here. So I'm going to come in and draw a little bit of coral. I'm going to use the advantage of the brush nib in doing this. And I'll do this before I come in and draw the rest of the water there, or the ocean, because otherwise trying to go over the blue with this might be a bit difficult. Maybe we'll draw this in a couple different places here. And what I'll do is I'll come in real quick, outline just a little bit of it, not all of it. I'm just gonna, this is how I'm gonna solve this problem in real time, just to get some separation of what I see for coral. And maybe get some texture in there. About like that. Just to get a little separation, so it looks like there's more than just one coral plant. I don't know, is coral plants? One coral bunch? Let us know in the comments if you know what that is. If you know what I mean? Well, we can come down here and just put little texture dots in different areas. Signify we got some coral going on there. You don't want to overdo it here, just here and there, random. Something about like that, huh? Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with this blue. And I just want to get, actually before we do that, because there's more stuff I want to put up there, we're getting close on time. I'm just going to come here and I'm going to come over here on the underside of our crab buddy here and get some sand, or this is going to be dirt, I guess, ocean floor. And then we'll call it until next week. Alright guys, Bella bailed on us. She's right there though. She is definitely hanging out still. She's just over there cleaning herself in front of the door. She does that. Like I said, it's a little later in the day, so she's a little more active. I get up real early. I'm super early to wake up. Her breakfast is generally around 5, so she'll eat and go back to bed. Why I make a video. Now some of this stuff might be okay, streaky, just because it's the floor. It's the ocean floor. But we're going to keep it there, you guys. We're going to call it. Thanks for joining us this week, Bella and I, on this Posca video. Until next week, have a good weekend and rest of your week. From Bella and I, peace.